What would you do if one day, without warning, your entire family simply disappeared? No explanation, no trace, just silence. On February 15, 2003, Onkar Verma's sister Nancy and her family vanished without a trace. The police brushed it off, but Onkar uncovered a chilling web of lies, murder, and obsession. What happened to them? And what did a hidden letter and confession reveal about the killer? Stick around as this story unfolds with betrayal, dark secrets, and justice that took years to uncover. In this video, we'll dive into the shocking details, from a suspicious business sale to the discovery of a gruesome truth. Don't miss how a single clue tied the killer to the crime. The silent vanishing, a family frozen in time. Imagine this: you wake up, reach for your phone to call a loved one halfway across the world, and nothing. No response, no explanation. What would you do if your daily lifeline to them suddenly vanished? For journalist Onkar Verma, the nightmare began on February 15, 2003, when his sister Nancy Chauhan, who lived in London, went silent. At 25, Nancy was a young mother of two, and she and Onkar spoke regularly until her sudden disappearance. 2 days earlier, Nancy had shared her worries about her husband, Amarjit Chauhan, a wealthy businessman, vanishing. The company claimed he'd flown to the Netherlands, but with his and Nancy's passports at the UK Home Office, the story didn't add up. A strange voicemail from Amarjit, oddly in English instead of Punjabi, added to the unease. Onkar advised her to wait a day before contacting the police, but by February 16, Nancy, her 2 children, and her mother, Charanjit Kaur, had all vanished. An entire family was gone, and a chilling mystery had just begun. Onkar contacted the UK police after much difficulty, requesting them to check on his sister. The police did visit, but when they arrived, everything appeared as if the family had just gone out somewhere. They spoke to the neighbors, who confirmed they hadn't seen the family for a few days. However, the police didn't take things seriously, assuming the family had simply left for something casual. When Onkar arrived in London on March 5, his concern for his missing family turned to dread. Police had dismissed his worries, but when he visited Nancy's house, everything seemed off. Toys were scattered on the floor, a full fridge untouched, and clothes left mid-wash. Most haunting of all, Charanjit's prayer book lay forgotten on the table. Onkar also found a plane ticket for Charanjit's return to India unused. The house felt frozen in time, as if the family had vanished. With growing evidence, Onkar returned to the police, determined to find answers. What had happened to the Chauhans, and why did their home feel wiped clean? The mysterious sale and Reagan's obsession, a web of deception unfolds. What would you think if a millionaire suddenly sold their thriving business and vanished without a trace? That's exactly what happened when Amarjit Chauhan and his family disappeared in February 2003, setting off a chain of events that would reveal a far darker plot. Just days after Amarjit's sudden silence, on February 17, his company, Saiba Freight, was mysteriously sold by an employee, Kenneth Reagan. Reagan claimed Amarjit had signed over power of attorney, selling the business to a woman named Belinda Bruin, and that he had fled to India. While it made sense that Nancy had often talked about retiring there, the timing of the sale raised immediate suspicions. Investigators soon found flaws in Reagan's story. Amarjit had arranged a meeting with Belinda at Stonehenge on February 13, but she never showed up, and there was no proof the meeting had even happened. Belinda, a struggling single mother, had been roped into Reagan's scheme, lured with promises of a £70,000 salary for little work. But the real story began to unravel when Amarjit disappeared after the planned meeting, and within days, his wife, children, and mother-in-law also vanished. Reagan quickly spun a convenient narrative, claiming Amarjit had sold the business and fled to India. But it didn't take long for the bizarre details of the story to raise alarms. The Stonehenge meeting, the rushed sale, and Reagan's flimsy explanation painted a picture of something much darker, a web of deception and manipulation. Meanwhile, the employees of Siga Freight were thrown into chaos. Reagan introduced Belinda as the new owner, but his obsession with her quickly became evident. He began meddling in her personal life, offering unsolicited advice, and even having his friends dig a ditch on her property without permission. Despite her growing unease, Belinda's focus remained on the company, while Reagan's behavior grew more invasive and controlling. What started as a business takeover morphed into an unsettling power play, with Reagan asserting dominance in every corner of her life. In the end, the business sale wasn't just about money, it was the first step in a much darker plan, one that involved control, manipulation, and deceit at the highest level. The missing Chauhan family was just the beginning of a chilling story of obsession and murder. The chilling search of Amarjit Chauhan. Amarjit Chauhan, Nancy's husband, had a shady past, including a stint in jail for tax evasion, but this wasn't what had led to their disappearance. His business partner, Kenneth Reagan, claimed that Amarjit had fled to India with his family, but this story quickly unraveled. The UK Home Office confirmed that neither Amarjit nor Nancy had left the UK. Their passports were still at the office. And when phone data traced Amarjit's last known location to Stonehenge, it only deepened the mystery. Reagan's phone had pinged from the same area on the day of the supposed meeting, and the phones continued south to Exeter, where they abruptly cut off. It was a chilling trail, one that pointed to something far darker. The police, now focused on Reagan, were beginning to realize how far he would go to cover his tracks. His lies were piling up, and with each new clue, the truth seemed to be just within reach. But the most important question still hung in the air: where was Amarjit, and what had Reagan done to him? As the investigation moved forward, it led to Belinda Bruin's farm, where Reagan had been digging a mysterious ditch on the property. Despite days of searching, no bodies were found, and investigators were left with an unsettling emptiness until a breakthrough came. A father and son, out canoeing, discovered a bloated body floating in the water. It was Amarjit Chauhan, but the case didn't end there. Back at the farm, forensic teams re-examined the ditch, uncovering evidence, clumps of hair, burnt clothing, and fragments of jewelry. DNA confirmed the hair belonged to Amarjit, and the jewelry was linked to his wife Nancy. Baby clothes, burnt and discarded, revealed the tragic fate of the children. Reagan had gone to great lengths to cover up his crime, even trying to destroy evidence with fire. Yet, the deeper investigators dug, the clearer the truth became. Reagan had committed an unimaginable crime, the murder of an entire family. The investigation was no longer about finding missing persons. It had turned into a search for justice for a family destroyed by lies and murder. And in the end, the pursuit of truth would lead to the unraveling of Kenneth Reagan's dark and deadly obsession. The confession and the hidden clue that solved the case. What if guilt became too heavy to bear after a crime? For Peter Reese, part of Kenneth Reagan's criminal trio, the weight of his involvement was unbearable, and it changed everything. As Reagan and William Hornsey fled to Europe to evade capture, Reese stayed behind in the UK, moving between hostels and wrestling with regret. While he denied killing anyone, his role in covering up the crime haunted him. One night, overwhelmed by guilt, Reese confessed to a hostel owner. In a chilling revelation, he admitted Reagan had orchestrated the murders, including those of Amarjit Chauhan's 2 young children. He killed them all, Reese said, his voice heavy with remorse. The hostel owner immediately alerted the police, but by the time officers found Reese 12 days later, he had gone silent. Still, his confession had already given investigators a crucial lead, nudging them closer to cracking the case. Then came an unexpected breakthrough, a tiny clue that almost went unnoticed. While examining Amarjit's remains, investigators found a folded letter tucked into his sock. Addressed to Kenneth Reagan and dated February 12, 2003, The day Amarjit disappeared, the letter somehow survived being buried and submerged in water. This piece of evidence directly tied Regan to Amarjit's abduction and murder. More hauntingly, it revealed Amarjit had sensed the danger he was in and left behind this desperate final clue, knowing it might be his only chance to expose his killer. Reese's confession offered a window into the crime's emotional weight, but Amarjit's hidden letter delivered the damning evidence. It became a powerful testament to the victim's determination to ensure justice, proving that even in his final moments, he fought to hold his murderer accountable. The trial, the verdict, and the lingering shadows of grief. What happens when justice is served, but the pain and unanswered questions refuse to fade? In 2005, 2 years after the brutal murders of Amarjit Chauhan and his family, the trial finally began. The evidence was overwhelming. Peter Rees, who had confessed his role in the crime, received a 23-year sentence for his part in Amarjit's murder. But the masterminds, Kenneth Regan and William Hornsey, were each handed 5 life sentences, ensuring they would never walk free. While the verdict delivered justice, it couldn't erase the lingering tragedy. Amarjit's body had been recovered, and Charanjit's remains were later found washed ashore on the Isle of Wight. But the bodies of Nancy and her 2 young sons, Devinder and Ravinder, remained missing. This lack of closure left a painful void for their grieving family and the investigators who worked tirelessly to uncover the truth. For Onkar Verma, Amarjit's brother-in-law, the trial brought no peace. Returning to New Zealand after the proceedings, he found himself haunted by the brutality his loved ones endured. Endless, tormenting questions filled his mind. Who was killed first? Did Nancy or her mother witness the deaths of the children before their own? The unanswered horrors weighed heavily, making it impossible to move on. Yet, amid the darkness, Onkar found a sliver of solace. While sorting through old memories, he came across a video recorded just 2 days before Amarjit disappeared. It captured a joyful family moment, Nancy laughing with her babies, surrounded by love and warmth. That fleeting image became a lifeline for Onkar, reminding him that despite their tragic end, his sister's life had been filled with happiness, love, and cherished moments. Justice had been served in the courtroom, but for those left behind, like Onar, the grief and unanswered questions remained. Yet, in the memory of love and laughter captured on that tape, there was a sliver of peace, a testament to the joy that once defined their lives. The tragic disappearance of the Chauhan family revealed the depths of greed and cruelty. Kenneth Regan's lies led to murder, but Amarjit's final act ensured justice prevailed. This case shows that no matter how dark the truth, it will always come to light. If you were captivated by this chilling story, like, share, and subscribe for more real-life tales. What are your thoughts on how the truth came out? Share in the comments below,